Hi guys, and welcome to Daliso Sports Show. I will be talking about Martin Zubimendi and what he is going to be bringing to this Arsenal side. He has come in and he's going to be a direct replacement for Thomas Partey, whose contract expired recently, just a few weeks ago. Now, Martin Zubimendi, the view is for him to bring both continuity as well as evolution in the midfield. Now, when you're analyzing something like this, we know Martin has never played in the Premier League. He doesn't have that Premier League experience. And Thomas Partey had that experience for years and years and years. And that is why last season we're so dependent on him. Now, let's focus on the tactical, technical, and stylistic aspects of Martin Zubimendi's play compared to Thomas Partey. What he's going to bring and what he might be lacking compared to what we are used to. Now, Martin Zubimendi has come from the Spanish league, Real Sociedad. He played the number 6 there. He's a defensive midfielder and he is right-footed. Now, he plays in a deep-lying playmaker role compared to Thomas Partey, who was more of a roamer. He would get the ball and he would try and create chances if he couldn't defend. So for me, I prefer Thomas Partey to Zubimendi only because I thought his transitional play was exceptional. Regardless, let's look at the tactical intelligence and positional discipline of Zubimendi. So Zubimendi excels in positional play, rarely caught out of shape, and is brilliant at holding the defensive line while offering safe outlets in the build-up. I think what this means is he's not going to be leaving his position. Now, you have to remember how Arsenal play with their fullbacks. You're going to have Julian Timber flying down the right flank, trying to create playoffs with Saka. But with that protection of Zubimendi there and him probably not looking to go off to try and do more than he should do, I think we are going to be a bit safer in that defensive position when he goes roaming, and that might help Arsenal better against teams we struggled with last season, like Newcastle, West Ham. We had some really tough games against those teams because they just took advantage of any kind of play where we were getting too ambitious and too exploratory. Now, positionally in Mikel's team, it looks like his intelligence will ensure that there is consistent coverage behind the ball, which is what we want. So when the fullbacks push up, we are going to at least have somebody in there protecting the play. You've got Rice, who's going to be creating all the chances, probably permanently playing in that number 8 position now that, we've got Zubimendi there. But you also have to consider that Zubimendi has not played in the Premier League. And is he going to be able to adapt quickly to the aggression of the league? We'll only know when the season starts. Pre-season as well actually will be a good indicator. Now, unlike Partey, who sometimes steps into advanced positions and midfield zones, Zubimendi is more disciplined as a single pivot, ideal for 4-3-3 or 4-2-5, which, depending on the team that you play. So hopefully that is going to support our fullbacks as well as our back four to make sure that their positions are set. So, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis or scrutiny of how he handles and how he stays disciplined. And if that will help us, I think his style of play is more like a Merino kind of play. That is before he got converted into the number 9. But we'll see how that is going to go in the end. Now, in terms of passing and build-up play, Zubimendi's passing range is more methodical than explosive. So he's going to get the ball and he's going to think about where the ball is going to go. He's not just going to look to push it through anywhere. He's not going to be explosive, and his passing range, short, medium passes in tight spaces. Maybe they might link up quite efficiently with Odegaard because that is what Odegaard is supposed to be really good at. So that will help because you have Odegaard, you have Saka, and you have Zubimendi in that sort of area. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that will work out. But with certain teams, I think it will really help Arsenal collect more points because that is our next objective now, to get more points than everyone else. And that means beating everybody. And, you cannot go wrong with a midfield combination that is in control of every phase of play. Now, Thomas Partey was more ambitious and took a lot of risks with vertical passes, which were very successful quite a lot, and they really helped Arsenal, but not enough to do a lot. And we saw some of these plays. Obviously, we knew we were going to pay for it when he missed the first leg of the PSG game. We lost all the control we had in that midfield, but he had that element. whereas Zubimendi is thought to he's going to offer more control and tempo setting, which will suit our game a lot more, depending on the ambitions of the manager and how we're going to manage big matches. In terms of defensive security, whereas Partey was more physical and would cover more ground in recovery when he's trying to recover the ball, Zubimendi's strengths are thought to be anticipation. So he's probably a good reader of play, so he'll be able to tell or read sort of what the intention of the opposition is going to be, making sure that all the gaps are covered in his area, making sure that the balls are not, his defenders are not getting exposed unnecessarily to danger. And then his interceptions, of course, because he can anticipate, hopefully we are not going to put our midfield and other players at risk from lunges. You know how many red cards Arsenal got last year for very minor infringements. So hopefully that will help lessen our exposure to those with the signing of Zubimendi. So whereas Partey was a destroyer, this guy is more of a defensive stabilizer. We are going to have a midfielder who hopefully makes our defenders really calm and relaxed on the ball. Now, injury records, we knew Thomas Partey had a terrible injury record. It's only last season where he played almost a full season, and it was great to see. That's when we saw, I think, his value. But Zubimendi, apparently, his injury record is great. Means nothing, because obviously in the Premier League, the intensity of the Premier League does tend to cause new players. It does tend to cause new players a bit of trouble. So hopefully he's able to settle in and be able to play and offer week in, week out reliability. How is he going to fit in Arteta's Arsenal? He'll probably be the last line of our midfield. So basically, you've got Rice playing that number 8 role. He'll be our number 6. Now we are going to have Julian Timber flying down the right. We are going to have Martin Lewis-Skelly a bit open as well, because he likes to roam a little bit. But I think if those guys are getting so much freedom, Rice will probably be protecting Lewis-Skelly. He'll have to protect Julian Timber's position when he goes down and bombs down the flank. So I think he's going to just sit back, and we're going to see more of Rice continuing to create more chances, because I think we know Rice is going to be given the responsibility to get a lot more goals this season. Now, rotation, I don't know what our rotation options are. That's why I thought we would get another sort of midfielder. But you have to remember we've got Merino as well. Now, Merino was playing centre forward for us last season because we did not have anyone fit for quite a long period of the season. But hopefully we're going to get some reinforcements for our centre forwards, and hopefully we're going to have Kai Havertz back and ready to go. And well, Jesus, we don't know whether he's going to be fit and ready to go, but we cannot rely on players who have been unreliable. But at the end of the day, in terms of rotation, we've got Merino who can rotate with Zubimendi. I don't think Merino was he was definitely not as good as Thomas Partey in that system. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, potential weaknesses that we're going to see. He is not imposing. He's not as imposing as Partey was. So in terms of duels, one-to-ones, he might not actually win many of those. But then again, his anticipation, his experience, hopefully, is going to win out. He will lack Premier League, the Premier League pace, intensity, because it is quite intense. Every team in the Premier League is so strong right now. In the last few seasons, the teams are so strong. And there's no game you go into knowing you're going to collect points. Remember Fulham were just getting these crazy results very unexpectedly, but everyone is so motivated. Everyone's winning. They've got some very good quality players all around. So, we'll see. His dribbling ability apparently is not great, but you don't need to dribble. All we want is for him not to expose our back four. Our defensive line needs to be stronger than it has ever been for us to have a chance, because we need to progress from the position that we have been in for the last 3 or 4 seasons of coming second. We do not want that. We cannot come second again, honestly. Although I don't think we'll do better, but come on, we can't do second again. It's going to be a nightmare. Right, so what is he bringing to Arsenal? A safer pair of hands. So he'll set the tempo. disciplined, intelligent, and he'll be obviously intercepting. Injury record is excellent. Um, Tailor-made for positional play. It looks like Arteta wants to solidify that positional play element. And of course, EPL readiness, he will need to adjust very quickly to the Premier League. In the very few weeks, he will have to just come. He's definitely going to be starting, so he will need to be so ready. Hopefully, he'll have a chance to get some experience on the preseason tour, so that he can, jump in feet first. Right. So in the end, Zubimendi to Arsenal is a shift towards control and consistency. Arteta wants us to be in control and to be consistent. This is what was lacking last season. This is what Liverpool had last season, and we did not have it. There were certain games we would go in which looked like dead rubbers, and we would draw we would draw and we would get a red card. It was really, really incredible sometimes. But of course, we need more consistency. We need more control. And this guy is going to hopefully enable us to have more control of our matches. So people who have watched him a lot are saying that what he'll bring is more like a player of Busquets. Remember Busquets in the Barcelona team, his style of play. He could be Arsenal's anchor in the midfield. He's elegant, he's tactically secure. And especially in the Champions League, where you need to be tactically mature, this is what we need. We can't just go for the Premier League. We need to be able to compete in the Champions League. And I am hoping that this is what we need in midfield to be able to take us into a better positions. We need to be aiming for more. So yes, this is Martin Zubimendi. He has signed for Arsenal, and we can only look forward to seeing what he can do in midfield. Now notice I didn't say anything about our centre forwards because we haven't had anything signed on the dotted line yet, and when it does, we are going to analyze Martin Zubimendi and our centre forward signings if and when they come. Right, thank you, and you have a good day, evening and night.